A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. In a significant diplomatic move, U.S. President Donald Trump announced plans to engage in phone conversations with key leaders regarding the ongoing war in Ukraine. On Monday, Trump intends to speak with Russian President Vladimir Putin, followed by discussions with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and leaders from NATO countries. The primary focus of these discussions will be to halt what Trump has termed a bloodbath in Ukraine. In a post on his social media platform, Truth Social, Trump expressed hope for a productive day that could lead to a ceasefire and an end to the violent conflict, which he insists should never have occurred. The Kremlin has confirmed that preparations for the call are underway, as spokesperson Dmitry Peskov acknowledged the planned discussions. This announcement comes shortly after the first direct talks between Moscow and Kyiv in years concluded without a ceasefire agreement. Tensions escalated when Putin rejected Zelensky's offer for a face-to-face meeting in Turkey, despite proposing direct negotiations himself, albeit not at the presidential level. In addition to Trump's outreach, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio engaged in a phone call with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, suggesting the Vatican as a potential venue for future peace talks. Meanwhile, the situation on the ground in Ukraine remains dire. A tragic incident occurred in a northeastern town where a Russian drone struck a bus evacuating civilians from frontline areas, resulting in the deaths of 9 individuals. This attack came just hours after the delegations from both nations returned from Istanbul, where they had agreed to the largest prisoner swap to date, exchanging 1,000 prisoners of war each. Ukrainian intelligence chief Kirilo Budanov indicated that the prisoner exchange could take place as soon as next week. However, the Kremlin has resisted calls from Ukraine and its Western allies for a temporary ceasefire as a precursor to a peaceful resolution. The two sides remain far apart on essential conditions for ending the conflict. Since the U.S. brokered talks commenced in March, Ukraine's strategy has been to demonstrate to the Trump administration that Putin is an unreliable partner and that Kyiv is earnest about achieving peace. Trump has voiced his frustration over the stalled negotiations, threatening to withdraw his efforts if tangible results are not forthcoming. He has also stated that he believes no peace can be achieved without a direct meeting with Putin. After returning from a trip to Abu Dhabi, Trump hinted at a potential call with Putin, stating, "He and I will meet, and I think we'll solve it, or maybe not. At least we'll know." These political maneuvers occur against a backdrop of harsh realities in Ukraine, where the ongoing war continues to weaken the country's position unless significant sanctions against Moscow are implemented and U.S. arms supplies remain consistent. Zelensky has been vocal about the outcomes of the recent talks, engaging with Trump and leaders from France, Germany, Britain, and Poland. He has called for stringent sanctions against Russia if it refuses to accept a full and unconditional ceasefire. Peskov has left the door open for a possible meeting between Putin and Zelensky, contingent upon the successful execution of the agreed prisoner swap and further agreements between the two delegations. In a somber turn of events, the drone strike that killed 9 civilians has cast a shadow over the already fragile peace efforts. Local authorities have declared a period of mourning in the town of Bilopilia, where the attack occurred. Zelensky condemned the incident as a deliberate killing of civilians, emphasizing the tragic loss of life and the missed opportunities for peace. International condemnation of the attack has been swift, with UK Foreign Secretary David Lammy expressing his horror at the incident and urging for an immediate ceasefire from Russia. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz echoed these sentiments, condemning Russia's ongoing aggression and pledging to intensify pressure on Moscow through additional sanctions. As the diplomatic landscape continues to evolve, the focus remains on whether Trump's upcoming calls will yield any meaningful progress towards peace in Ukraine. With both sides entrenched in their positions and the humanitarian crisis deepening, the world watches closely to see if a breakthrough can be achieved in the ongoing conflict. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.